Afternoon and happy Monday. Welcome to Ravi Uncensored. It's good to see everyone. And I just want to say to those that have been my regulars, shout out to you. And it's good to actually see you again today. And if you're new here, I want to say to you, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you ring the bell, because every time I'm live, you'll be the first person to be notified. So come on, let's have a look of what's happening today. But here's where we are today. Sadc rejects Zanu PF's bullying, pushing for an extraordinary summit on Zimbabwe Sham election. Bear in mind, there was an election in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and a report is out, but a clean report. I've been doing my research to see what's happening about the Kingdom of Eswatini. You never heard an outcry from that land, which means the election was credible. It's very sad when we come back to our homeland. This is why they are now pushing and say we need an extraordinary summit, because Zimbabwe, the election that was conducted there, nothing but a sham. But let's quickly go in and check what's happening on our Twitter trends. Very important. By the way, I can see now here that Nelson Chamisa is trending. Like I've always say, he's always trending because people are desperate to know what's happening with the Zimbabwean situation. But at the end of it all, we are on our way to where we're supposed to be. And Nico Makonzo said, introducing to you my own president, Nelson Chamisa, the only one I trust for the future of my kids. I'm in the same boat with him. I trust Nelson Chamisa too. And Solomon said, you will make it seem like Chamisa and crew are blocking others from participating, who say they must go at it alone. By the way, I've always been saying Citizen Coalition for Change is a citizen movement. It's not a Chamisa movement. It's all of us. That includes you and me, for those that want to follow his leadership. It's really just about us trusting and believe and where he's taking us from as Zimbabwean people. Right, so quickly let's move. And actually, I want to be saying apologies to those who lost the connection. Something was happening, so it immediately interrupted with the connection. So I apologize to you guys. But let's move right along and check what's going on with what Dr. Mumba had to say. Very important. Let's listen to what Dr. Mumba is saying before we proceed with the article that we are looking at today regarding the extraordinary summit. Go ahead, please.
With your reaction to the winner of this election, President Mnangagwa, the observer missions, particularly Sadc, as led by yourself, and the European observers, went beyond the call of your duty in your observance of this election. How do you respond to those comments?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I think for the benefit of the listeners, it is very, very important that people have information of how Sadc operates. What is our mandate? Our mandate basically is to go to member nations that are having elections and observe those elections. And Zimbabwe is a signatory to the protocols of Sadc, and they have committed themselves to be reviewed by their peers to ensure that the elections that they hold are within the mandate of the guidelines given by Sadc. And basically, we shall go out. We don't go outside the mandate that Sadc gives to us. We stay within it. And what is critical is that our entire preliminary statement that we gave anchors itself on three major things. Number one, we only observe elections against not against, but on these three principles: the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe, the Electoral Act of Zimbabwe, and also the guidelines of Sadc. So whatever happens in the election, what we observe has to be qualified by what the Constitution of Zimbabwe says. That's why our document, more than any other document, and the reason it's being challenged or fought is because it can't be faulted. Every issue we have raised in this election is supported by either a broken constitutional provision or an overlooked electoral act or by an abused guideline of the Sadc. So we have no interest to go outside our mandate. So basically, when you read our report, everything we have raised is supported either by the Constitution of Zimbabwe, it is supported by the Electoral Act of Zimbabwe, and it is also undergirded by the commitment that Zimbabwe has made to SADC as a member state, and have agreed to be scrutinized on the basis of the guidelines that even Zimbabwe was part of in formulating.
Yeah, and I'm...
You know what's so sad is I remember when there were elections, during that, was it last year or a year before, when the Kingdom of Eswatini were looking for a prime minister, and Tendai Biti was actually one of the observer under SADC. So it's shocking for me to see that Zimbabwe has a problem with the observers under the leadership of Mr. Mumba. Is it because you did not hear what you wanted to hear? You know, because there was an election recently in the Kingdom of Eswatini, like this last week. And the report is out. I never heard people from Eswatini screaming and shouting at SADC. I never heard, which means that they actually had a clean report. I got to say, you know, they said the SEOM report on Eswatini polls was in stark contrast to its report on Zimbabwe's 23rd August elections, which were said to be the chaotic and not representative of the will of the people. So what is wrong with SADC? They're literally working within the parameters of, number one, the Constitution of Zimbabwe, number two, the guidelines of SADC, number four, ZEC's constitution. So what did they do wrong? What is it that they did wrong? But they are now ready. They actually ready. SADC leaders push for an extraordinary summit. Zimbabwe stolen election update. So this is the NewsHawks as well as Zim Live. So definitely we are pushing for the summit. It's going to be very interesting. You know, after all the nonsense from Zanu PF, it's going to be interesting. So News Live said, while the Harare government has been making frantic efforts to sanitize the chaotic elections, the Sadc region has refused to ignore or forget Zimbabwe's shambolic polls, which were underlined by the serious irregularities. While the Harare government has been making frantic efforts to sanitize the chaotic general polls, the Sadc region has refused to ignore or forget Zimbabwe's shambolic polls, which were underlined by a host of serious irregularities. Nathan GUMA, the bloc has resolutely rejected vicious attacks on its election observer mission, which in an unprecedented move produced a damning report on Zimbabwe's polls. The report has seen Zimbabwe's leaders go on a rampage, castigating Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema for appointing the country's former Vice President Mumba as head of the mission, which produced the report that poked holes into the disputed election. This week, an extraordinary meeting of the SADC organ troika ministers committees resolutely defended the regional grouping's election observer mission and its report, saying the 23rd election did not meet the threshold of the country's constitution, the Electoral Act, and the Sadc Principles and Guidelines governing democratic elections. The minister indicated the behavior of Zanu PF and Zimbabwean government officials over the issue was reprehensible, as it practically damaged SADC's reputation and credibility while also distorting the process of electoral observation in the region. Effectively, SADC told the Harare authorities to stop behaving like a bull in a china shop, as that risked discrediting the regional body and its future election observer missions in other countries due for elections such as Eswatini. But there was an election last week in the Eswatini, and the report is out and the report is clean. I was doing my research to see if there was an outcry from the Kingdom Eswatini. There was nothing. Maybe it's too late to hear an outcry, but I haven't heard anything. But you know what happened with Zimbabwe? Immediately, I'm saying, in the morning of the 23rd, I woke up to different posts, pictures were being sent out across the social media platforms. People were crying left, right, and center. Did you ever heard from the Kingdom of Eswatini? Today is the 2nd of October. Anyone, please help me. Anyone who heard anything from the Kingdom of Eswatini? I never heard anything. We still may be yet to hear. The report is out and the report is clean from SADC. Now the question we need to ask each other is that, so people hate Zimbabwe. They hate Zimbabwe that much to a point where they have to actually come out with a stained report just to tarnish Zimbabwe? Zanu PF. And why am they? Why is Zanu PF so concerned about this report? Are they Zek. I never heard Zek comment nothing. Chigumba never said anything. Did you see how she was looking at when she was going to the inauguration? She was looking like a peacock. Let me just drink some water. Chigumba was looking like a peacock. And who's dressing Chigumba? Who is dressing Chigumba? Because she was looking absolutely messed up. But not only about her outside appearance, she looked like someone was broken from the inside. There was no joy on her face. You know, when you're going to an inauguration and everybody's celebrating, Chigumba was literally, she was flat. Since then, I never heard nothing from her. We never heard anything from Zek. And when the Observer Mission released their preliminary report, it was definitely just addressing Zek. But Zanu PF came into Zek's defense. What is that supposed to tell you? What is that supposed to tell you? That Zanu PF is defending the preliminary report. They've been screaming left, right, and center, but hey, Sadc is not backing down. Sadc is in for the extraordinary summit to address Zimbabwe's mess. This is going to be an interesting one, but I'm so glad because finally, and I repeat finally, we need to have a normal country. I'm so glad because it's because our leaders need to understand that not everyone believes in coercing people. Not everyone believes in cutting corners. No, not everybody. There are people who are principled in 2023 who believes in doing the right thing and the right thing only. They don't look at your face and say, what's your name? They look at what the Constitution say. What are the guidelines according to Sadc? And also, what are the guidelines according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe as far as elections are concerned? It's going to be an interesting one. But you know, effectively, Sadc told the Harare authorities to stop behaving like a bull in a China shop, as that risked discrediting the regional body and its future election observer missions in other countries due for elections such as Eswatini, we had Eswatini, Madagascar, Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa, and Comoros Islands. The troika noted the personal attacks and threats on the media that have been directed at the observer mission. Dr. Nevas Mumba, the head of the observer mission, Dr. Nevas Mumba, and the chairperson of the organ, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, since the Zimbabwe preliminary report released on the 25th of August 2023. Read the report by Stanley Kakubo, Zambian Foreign Minister and Chairperson of the Ministerial Committee of the Sadc Organ of Politics, Defense and Security Cooperation. The troika further noted that such attacks undermine the Sadc Principles and Guidelines governing democratic elections and might have a negative bearing in the future elections, especially with another election coming on the 23rd. The 29th is gone. Then in this kingdom of Eswatini, which happened last week, and reiterated that the preliminary report are in line with the Sadc Principles and Guidelines governing democratic elections, and that reports are produced by a collective of member states and observers led by the organ troika and supported by the Secretariat. So the troika noted that there is a risk, and if unchecked, further attacks on the leadership of the organ and the report have the potential to damage the credibility of Sadc as an institution. Now, Nelson Chamisa put out a statement, no, not a statement, but he wrote out a Twitter today. He said, we understand the importance of dialogue, which means you've heard a lot of dialogue going down in Zimbabwe. People are assuming after that father met with Trevor Ngome, when they had an interview, he kept on insisting on the conversation to a point where he said it's important for Nelson Chamisa and ED be locked in a room. And to lock Nelson Chamisa and Mnangagwa, leave them until they come out with a solution to fix Zimbabwe. But bear in mind, Nelson Chamisa and ED are not Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are Zimbabwe. Nelson Chamisa and ED are simply men who are aspiring to lead a movement of a people, to lead the people of Zimbabwe. So when you say they must be locked in the room to do what? They can't. Bear in mind, if ED wanted to have a conversation with Chamisa, he could have. But at the end of the day, Zanu PF is manipulative. Zanu PF, the toothless dog, very manipulative, very abusive. So locking these two in the room is simply a waste of time. Nothing will come out of it. There's no relationship between the two. It's like darkness and light. I think what's going to happen, maybe it may work. If you put them in the room, I'm sure darkness is going to submit. I can tell you the truth. Darkness will submit. Because whenever light arrives, no, darkness has no choice except to comprehend. So maybe that will work. Try it if you want to. But he said, we understand the importance of dialogue as a means of foster unity and progress. However, we firmly believe that genuine dialogue requires a foundation built on truth and respect for democratic principles and adherence to established electoral standards. Can I tell you something? I think people are making one mistake of thinking that Chamisa is after power. And I've heard many people saying that. I can tell you what Chamisa is after. Chamisa is after redeeming the people of Zimbabwe from this mess. I can tell you truth because he can see how many people are trusting in him. Listen, Chamisa is loved by the people. People trust him to pull them out of this mess. That's why you see left, right. You saw what was happening during the time of the campaigning. People were literally going crazy. I'm talking of older people believing in his leadership. Bear in mind, leadership, you have to be trusted. That's why nothing is working in Zimbabwe, because Zanu PF are not the right people to be in leadership. Forcing, but they don't have, because they can't align with people's purpose. They cannot align with the energies of the people of Zimbabwe. That's why it's not working. I just wish we can understand that the leadership of Nelson Chamisa, and I'm going to be honest with Zimbabweans, will align with the destinies of many people. Let it be. I've once had a conversation with Kasukwire one day, and I made it very clear to him. I said the will of the people must prevail. Notwithstanding, Chamisa is 44 years old, if I'm correct. Notwithstanding electoral processes in terms of elections or whatever you guys think may work, you must understand that the energies of people, if it's connecting with someone, there's purpose in there. This is why when you're dating someone, and you guys, when you're dating a person, or you always say, no, I don't know, I'm just feeling like there must just something about this person, there's something. No, it's not about something about the person. It's the energies that are pulling you. It's purpose that is pulling you most of the times. I'm not talking about lust. When you're lusting on someone, no, lust can last for a million people, you can last for a million people. But when there's something, that energy, there's just something that is pulling you, or you feel it from your intuition that there must something about this person. It's not something about the person. It's destiny that is calling you. So the fact that the people of Zimbabwe trust in his leadership, most, not all, but most of the people of Zimbabwe, I think 80% believe in his leadership. 80% of Zimbabweans believe in the leadership of Nelson Chamisa. It's an indication that God wants him there. If you fight with the will of God, nothing will work. Notwithstanding your love for power, nothing will work. I don't know if that makes sense. Nothing will work. So did you guys know that actually Nigerians are now demanding, Tinubu also rigged elections like Zanu PF did? Tinubu, what you call it? Tinubu, what is the Tinubu, right? Yeah, maybe I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Nigerians, if you are here, please just say praise the Lord. Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, apparently Nigerians want to see his transcript from the University of Chicago, where he's claiming that he studied. They said we want to see the transcript. And now so the U.S. court has ordered Chicago State University to release President Bola Tinubu's academic records for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar by Tuesday. The presiding judge, Nancy Maldonado, dismissed Tinubu's objection, issuing a 2-day ultimatum to the University of Chicago. And let me tell you what Zimbabweans did now. Neighbor Masola went in and said, in Nigeria, they're demanding Tinubu's academic results from the U.S. university where he studied. Can Zambia give us Dambuzo Mnangagwa's law degree transcript? We need to see it. Mr. Mnangagwa, they claim that he did study at the University of Zambia. Remember? That he has got a law degree from Zambia. No, we are not. We now demanding that we need to see the transcript of Mr. Mnangagwa. Because the actions don't align with the person who is got a degree in law, right? Can we see? We ask you, Zambians, please be gracious and send us the transcript of Mr. Mnangagwa law degree. So that is what Neva Masore is demanding here. Very interesting indeed. Interesting. So when I say to everyone, welcome to Rumbi Uncensored. I can see a lot of people joining us right now. Listen, I want you guys to engage in this conversation. Let's have a chat. I told you last time that your voice matter. In whichever form, whichever way, speak up. Let's have a momentum. Let's flood social media, television, any form, WhatsApp, chats, if you can, anything that you can do. We want our voices to be heard. We need a free, fair, and credible election. We want to restart as a people of Zimbabwe. So please, I would ask you to also comment. Trust me, many people are reading your comments actually, including me. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by the messages, but we're always going to respond. For those that have been engaging, they know that we're always going to respond. My assistant does that work. She responds to most of you, but some of them I do see them and I do respond as well. So so just know that you guys, you're special. So let's have a conversation. I want you to take it upon yourself to demand a lifestyle that you deserve. You know your worth, right? The lifestyle that you guys deserve. So someone said, we are all politicians. Are we? We are all politicians, aren't we? You know, we make one mistake. Being a politician is simply to be a leader. Politicians are aspiring to be leaders, to lead someone's destiny. It's like a manager at work. People apply to be a manager of a company. You aspire to be a leader, right? That's what politicians do. They're different from the visionary. A visionary is someone who owns a purpose. So managers, politicians are simply being trusted for a certain period to be in leadership. So as it stands, all of you and me, we are politicians. We're all aspiring leaders, aren't we? Leaders at home, leaders at work, leaders in sporting, leaders in a family setup, leaders, maybe your parents are dead, you're leaders to siblings. We all leaders, one way or the other. You may be a mother, you're a leader to your children, right? You're a cousin, you are a leader in that space of influence. In your society, the impact that you're having is you are a leader. We are all politicians. So the facts remain, as Solomon Haruzi said, the facts remain. No one was born a politician or an activist. They're just ordinary people like you and me, 100%. This thing of saying I'm not a politician or activist is just excuse not to be involved in this long, painful, most times a dangerous task. People who fought in the liberation struggle were ordinary people, school children, to be precise. I can imagine if they had said, no, you go. I'm not a soldier. Not everyone is a soldier. I'm a student. No politician or activist owes you freedom. If you wanted to step up, play the part. You and me, we can demand the Zimbabwe that we want. Can I tell you something? I'm one of the most, I told you that I only getting to follow Zimbabwean politics last year. That can tell you that I was actually in my cocoon there. But trust me, I wasn't just in the cocoon. I was preparing for this time. I knew exactly where I was going. I was preparing, but hiding. Nobody knew me. You only saw me mushrooming recently. Oh, boom. When I said that, I was like, something must be wrong. I had a conversation with my mom at that time. And she told me, we're discussing about politics in Zimbabwe. I knew people are suffering. I've traveled, I've seen how people are suffering. And I told my mom, I was like, no, something must be done. And she said to me, we had a conversation. She said, no, but these people are very difficult. I said, really? I said, yeah. I said, no, Mom, something must give. I'll take it upon myself to play my part and ask God, what is it that I need to do? So when you see me talking, this is to dedicate to you, the people of Zimbabwe. It doesn't mean that I just want to come here and I'm not a journalist, I've made it clear before. But I want you and me to take part and make sure we deliver the Zimbabwe that we deserve. Because I can't. I want to see things that functions everywhere. I want to travel last time to Zimbabwe at the airport. I can tell you, first of all, when I was still at Oratambo, on my way to Zimbabwe, it was a mess. At Oratambo. Why? Because Zimbabwe demanded that I should have a vaccination card. So this is what happened. When they asked me for a vaccination card, and I said to them, what is that? They said for COVID. I said, COVID? This was like 3 months ago when I was registering to vote. I was like, COVID? What are you talking about? COVID? I traveled to Zimbabwe last time when we used to be given a 48 travel document where you go in and test. They said yes. I said, no way, I don't have any card here. They said, no, we need it. Otherwise, you're not traveling. We have to change your flight. You need to go downstairs. And bear in mind, this is early in the morning. I'm there and it's only 15 minutes for me, 30 minutes for me to board. 30 to 45 minutes, I think. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm kind of losing my tracks in terms of time. I said, no way, I'm going where I'm going. They said, no, ma'am, you can't. You need to go downstairs there. If you miss the flight, you're going to have to reschedule. I said, no way. I've rescheduled and it costed me a lot of money and I can't do it again. It's not going to happen. I remember that time I looked squarely in the woman. I said, listen, I'm not playing games here. I'm going where I'm going. You know, I'm very adamant, right? Yes, if I want something, I have to get it. I have to get it. That's me. So eventually, they managed to phone Harare at that time. Had a conversation and said, okay, she can come and test when she gets here. Fair enough. Eventually, listen, I've never been like a crazy person in my life. Eventually, I bought the plane and then boom, I found myself in Harare. As I landed there, I told the people, I said, I need to test here. That was the instruction. And the women said, okay, fair enough, just go outside there. I stood by side there, I'm waiting for the guys. Someone came in, went with me to the guys. We looked for the people who could test, no one was there. We waited and waited. People left, I was the only one left. Now, you know when you are there by the airport, people start to be suspicious. And I'm having suitcases, you know what I mean? They said something's going on with that lady. She may be a drug pusher, So dogs were coming around me, at the airport. And I would like someone like, what the hell? Where are they coming and moving around with their dogs around me? They're thinking, oh, maybe the girl is, maybe she's, you know what I mean? But no, man, I'm a classic woman. So eventually, I was left without a choice. They said, no, go home. So one of the lady was, that was an immigration officer. She said, hey, I've seen you've been sitting here, but we helped you a long time ago. What are you doing? I said, I'm waiting for test. I said, no, why are you? Don't worry, go. Now, for me, when he said go, I'm thinking about my family outside. I'm like, I'm out of here. I left. But little did I forget that I left my passport with a guy. I went home, yo, and I'm going to vote. So I'm telling you my drama. It's like I went home, right? So it's on Friday, Saturday. I can't wait to register to vote. I'm excited. I was excited, ecstatic, like crazy. I went to the place. As we got there to register to vote, boom, the passport is nowhere to be found. I left the passport in the airport, yo. I forgot. Now we drove back to the airport. Another drama. Yo, no, you're supposed to be arrested. I said, arrested? Yeah, because since you ran away before they tested you, maybe you had COVID. I said, please, you can't talk about COVID. This was years later on. And I'm telling you about this Zimbabwe situation to say something must be wrong in this country. Something is very wrong. Something is very wrong. So when you see me passionate and desperate to see change, it's because I know that something is just wrong. And bear in mind, I'm telling them, no, I did test in Johannesburg, but in South Africa, we were not being given cards. They were going to send you an SMS. But unfortunately, the phone I have, it's not the one that I normally use. The one that I use there, I've got a different phone. Oh, no way. And I remember this woman, rude as hell, she said to me, so I've got two phones. I'm giving you one of the phone of my relative was outside because we need my passport. She said, oh, no, but this phone is light. It's not an iPhone. And I was holding my other iPhone on the other side. I'm like, how rude can this woman be? And I said to her, ma'am, don't be rude to me. So I'm telling you my experience at your airport. So when I say to you, I want things to change in the country, I know exactly what I'm talking about. The chaos at the airport there is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And later on someone said to me, no, Rumi, they only wanted money. If you have given them the money, they're going to give you a passport immediately. I said, no, I don't pay bribe. I don't pay bribe. I can give them money to say maybe have something to eat or something to drink, or I can bless you and your family. But I'm not going to pay for me to get the safe that I should get for free. You understand? So I'm desperate to see that country functioning in a professional manner and in a respectful manner. But eventually I get my passport after a hell of a ride. A hell of a ride. So I'm telling you my experience. The Zimbabwe has to function. So when we are talking, I'm not a politician. For me, being in politics is a demotion. My calling is far beyond. It can't be boxed within a parameter of regulations. I can't. I don't survive with the rules. I believe in thinking outside the box. So being in politics is definitely a demotion, with all due respect. Even if I have to sow tomatoes if it wants, that's where God wants me. I'll be there if I can have my freedom. I don't like rules. I love to live my life freely. So, with that being said, moving right along, now we are talking of Gramatun. Did you guys even listen? Did you even hear about this whole Mutapa, this Mutapa drama that's going down, Mutapa Investment Fund? That has caused quite a stir on social media. You understand what I'm saying? Did you guys hear about the Mutapa funding thing that Mr. Mnangagwa is trying to control? Now, I want you to take a listen to what Gramatun is saying, because Gramatun is defending Mr. Mnangagwa. Because people are saying, no way. How come the president is giving himself so much powers? How come? He wants to be in so much control. But I've asked this question and I'll repeat. The last time I checked, the Chief Justice has got more powers than the president. But in Zimbabwe, what does the Constitution say? I need to see it and read it. Maybe I'm wrong. The Chief Justice must have more powers than the president, so that he can fire the president when the president misbehaves, can be fired or impeached. But it seems like Zimbabwe is different. Mr. Mnangagwa, the president, he has more powers. He does as he pleases, anytime as he feels. The man has got powers. He's like a husband in the house. A husband he's a king of the house. He's got the powers. He's got an overall. A husband in the house, he is a king. We all subject ourselves to his leadership. Our children and me as a wife, I'm like, my Lord, whatever you say, my Lord, let it be. Let it be, my Lord. Let it be. But Mr. Mnangagwa has so much powers in this country, so much powers. So Gramatun is defending him. But I want you to take a listen to what he's saying before we proceed, because you're going to hear some people bashing him, Mr. Gramatun, protecting ED. Take a listen.
60 days after the age.
First of all, this man is very, very aggressive, disrespectful. Did you ever listen? Okay, first of all, maybe that's how he speaks, but every time I listen to Mr. Gramatun, he's very aggressive. I'll tell you why. When he had a wedding for his daughter, he was speaking differently. But whenever he talks to Zimbabwe, he talks like he's talking to animals. Very disrespectful, aggressive, and and we're like, Talk to us with respect. If you can speak to Mr. Mnangagwa with respect, you can do to us as well. We were raised to honor janitors the way that we do to CEOs. So don't do that. But listen to what he has to say.
To submit to the president and to the minister an annual report on its operations and activities for the preceding year. These reports will be shared publicly. Thank you very much. I hope this, to an extent, does clarify some of the misunderstandings that have been there by the amalgamation of the various SI and what they are meant to achieve. But on Friday, His Excellency exempted one entity, which is the Mutapa Investment Fund, from application of the procurement law. To be clear, in terms of the law, as contained in the general notice published last Friday, the exemption applies only to the fund and not to any other entities listed on the schedule. The fund merely owns shares in those entities, but does not change their legal character or separate legal entities distinct from the fund. So all this noise again that we are seeing that every institution has been exempted is not correct. Why has the fund been exempted from procurement law? Most of you know, but I think let me hear those who don't. Because the fund by its nature will operate and compete in competitive markets in both the international and local market, competing against private equity funds and such type businesses. The fund will need to be quick, efficient, and cost-effective, and in some instances, by its nature, it will be involved in market-sensitive transactions, which as an investment brokers here will know will require such transactions to be handled differently. As such, it was important to place it at par with its peers. The fund, through its governance structures, will be governed by best practice rules and procedures in the area of procurement. The institutional framework introduced by the changes in the Act is designed to provide a robust organizational design to enable it to achieve its objectives as stated in the Act. Finally, from a reporting perspective, the fund will be required 60 days after the end of each financial year to submit to the President and to the Minister an annual report on its operations and activities for the preceding year. These reports will be shared publicly. Thank you very much. I hope this, to an extent, does clarify some of the misunderstandings that have been there by the promulgation of the various SI and what they are meant to achieve.
All right, so listen, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, Mr. Gramatunu, he's the same man who was complaining last year when he was saying that there's a lot of corruption happening around us. And then the president, ED, went to the podium and said, Mr. Gramatunu, if this was China, we now have some candidates for execution. Do you remember that? Mr. Mnangagwa was saying so. And then, they said, but this is Zimbabwe. Our laws, they don't really permit execution. But I heard that now we've got someone who can execute. You know, we didn't have a person to execute those that have been criminals like these ones, the corrupt people, thugs around the president. And here's the thing, I've been saying, do you think Mr. Mnangagwa is running the country? What Gramatun was saying this, do you think it's Mr. Mnangagwa who's pushing that agenda? Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. So Japanese Sunday went after him and he said, a whole grown-up man, a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance, a former banker, hurls insults at a private company, threatening to dismiss its entire board of directors for failing to run a company in an ailing circus economy created by this permanent secretary and colleagues. It's not just okay that is suffering, that is suffering because that, I think she wanted to say that we are suffering because of your skewed policies. A lot more businesses are suffering, but most importantly, the majority of Zimbabweans are suffering right there. The spending power of most Zimbabweans has been immensely reduced by your insensitive policies. The arrogance is beyond fathoming. The arrogance with these people is beyond fathoming. But here's the list of the companies that is referring to. So they said Mutapa Investment Fund. The biggest story that past week was the Mutapa Investment Fund, which people are claiming that must be debated in Parliament. Do you know anything about it? Zimbabweans, as I said, it's very important, my people, listen to this. You need to educate yourself about what's going on in this country. You know, I've seen that every time when those social media socialites, when they're busy screaming, when they're busy with their changing of men, you guys are there. You are busy listening to toxic stories that has nothing to do with growth. But when there are important issues that affects your day-to-day lifestyle, you are nowhere to be found. You are nowhere to be found. I'm encouraging you to educate yourselves because this is affecting your lifestyle. If you're single, your future as well. If you're married, your family life, your marriage, your children. These issues that we are talking about affecting your day-to-day lifestyle. If you're a student as well, it's affecting your school life. Don't play. If you can spend your time sharing nudity on social media, I've seen that the moment a person talks that I've got the nudes, everybody's there. contaminating your mind, but not focus on things that matter. This stuff is what you need to focus on. So, Hopo Shimona said, if you don't, then you're not paying attention to things that affect your life. The members of parliament are also letting you down by not speaking about this in huge numbers. No, we can't say they're letting us down because this just happened. Let's give them time as they get into parliament. We are waiting to see. Now we have got young blood, wise people. Let's hear. We want to hear them debating these issues in parliament. I'm really happy, or I'm excited about what's going on in Bulawayo. I can see what David Coulthard is doing. I'm waiting to hear about all these mayors. Mashingo mayor, 25-year-old young lady. I'm waiting to see what you're doing in Mashingo. I'm from Mashingo. I need to see what work are you doing. You know, we want to see. We are tired of just hearing stuff. Now we want to see. We have got social media. Tell us what's happening in your cities. Guys, if nothing is going on in your areas, if you're in Zimbabwe, speak up. Speak up so that we can take action immediately. We need action. Gone are the days where we are just going to say, no, we don't know. No, we don't know. I'm also waiting. Where I come from in the rural area, I'm going to make sure I'm following up on the member of parliament there, and I need to know what's going on with the councillors. If nothing is happening, I'm going to speak up on social media. We are tired. We know people are getting salaries, no development, no roads, nothing, no water. Is enough now. We want to see development. We want to see work being done. So I said, instead of coming to Twitter to post nonsense, I agree with him, posting nonsense, nudity, talking about relations that you guys can't even maintain. First and foremost, let's start right there. You know, when you talk about some, you know what I mean? I'm not going to mention here before they mess up with my video. You're there. You're sharing those things. But when we talk about important issues that pertains to your livelihood, you are nowhere to be found. MPs, please deal with this issue, this Mutapa issue. It must be dealt with now. You know why Zanu PF pauperized people over the years? You must get this. It was a strategy. Because if we pauperize you, if you're uneducated, we are going to abuse you and you won't question. You won't say anything. But it's time. We need to question every little thing. Yesterday, I was actually laughing in the evening. There is an election happening in Durban. Durban, that is they're choosing a premier. So because it's DA, EFF, and ANC. So because ANC and EFF know that they have no chance to stand that young guy. His name is Papas. He's a young white mayor. Small young people who knows him. He's hardworking. He speaks Zulu fluent. He is such an exceptional politician. He's not a politician, but he's an exceptional mayor. Now they're trying to discredit him. They're coming with a scandal that they're saying his girlfriend was given a tender. And the guy said, no way, we opened our cabin this year. The tender was given last year. How did we get a tender? He is so prepared. You can see how they follow up every little step that you make. Right now, we don't know how many mayors or how many politicians are busy right now spending money, giving each other tenders by their friends, their girlfriends, their slave queens. We do not know because we are not educating ourselves. We don't speak about things that matters. We are afraid that they will assassinate us. Listen, then they have to assassinate the entire nation because when we all speak up at once, they don't know who to attack. But when we are quiet and one person is speaking, then that person is vulnerable. Let's come together and speak up, question things. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what life is all about. If you can question your husband, where were you? You can question the government because that's where you're putting your tax money there. They're taking your money every month. You are supporting, you are literally funding their lifestyle. You see them when they're wearing Italian suits, it's your money. Question, what work are you doing? It's very important for you and me to take full responsibility and ask, what did they use with our little dollar? That $1 that you took from my salary, $1 that I paid when I sent money home, you took money. Tax money. What did you do, Mr. Gramatunu? We are funding your lifestyle. That beautiful wedding you did for your daughter in Cape Town, it's our money that you gave as a gift there. We funded your lifestyle. We are funding it. Your daughter was at the University of Cape Town. It's our money that you were paying the school fees. But while our kids have no school, it's our money that we pay tax money. That's what you need to understand. Politicians are literally surviving. You are funding their lifestyle. That's who have the right to speak up. So Zanu PF gets away with these corrupt shenanigans because of incompetence in parliament. And we are the ones who voted the parliamentarians. But I'm not talking about the rural areas because we know that they were coerced. As a matter of fact, any person who won in the rural area, I've always been saying, any Zanu PF person who's claiming to win election in these rural areas, forget it. We don't recognize you. We know that you guys were doing your shenanigans there, coercing people into all this nonsense so that you can get the position. And you are doing, there's no development because you're not the right people to do the job. All the government parastatals below are now under Mutapa Investment Fund. The firms under the fund will not be subject to the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act, PPDPA. These are the companies, Default Mine. By the way, it's journalists hope watching on this, not me, who actually incorporate this list. Zupco Kuimba Zero Investments. You have heard about the issue of Zupco, right? National Oil Company of Zimbabwe, Cold Storage Commission, Post Office, Net One Cellular, National Railways of Zimbabwe Holdings in NRZ. A lot of scandals that have happened there. Tel One, Ida Seeds Zimbabwe. There's also Power Company, Powertel Allied Timbers, Teleso Zimbabwe. And I'm very disappointed with that man Makamba, very disappointed in him. I thought he was a businessman, but he's also very shrewd. And then Air Zimbabwe Industrial Development Corporation, talk about that one. Kotko and also Wange Qualia. But you heard Gramatun say it's not true. It's not correct. That's Gramatun. It's only one company, one. But these are the list of the companies. So I'm saying, no, members of parliaments, honorables. Now, get into parliament. We want to hear this because we're going to report about it when you talk about these issues. We'll come in and we'll talk also outside here. We are tired of just sitting back and sitting where we watch, messing up with our lives. Because at the end of the day, these people are getting salaries, yo. Very soon, members of parliament are going to be getting cars and some stuff. They'll have benefits here. But just why are they getting benefits, which we can't deny them? If that is their right, why not? Go for it. But on condition that we were going to scrutinize your work. We'll question where we have to. And we'll criticize where we have to. And we're also going to applaud or to be grateful where we know you've done your work. Like we're talking right now, we will affirm those that are doing work. David Quartet, that man is so committed. This is why I'm saying, yeah, I have no hatred. I'm a black person. And I don't want to lie. As a matter of fact, I find it more easier to actually align with white people than black people, my people. I have been hurt, used, betrayed, abused by my own Zimbabwean people more than anyone else. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. But however, we are family, we can always forgive and find ways to move forward. But I have respect for white people. When they're doing something, they mean business. They're committed and they do it honestly. They're always there with a servant heart, not to collect. But our people are quick to say, where's the car? Where do I stay? I need a house. When you are taking those 40,000 loans, when are you going to pay back? First of all, for those that were given loans. And by the way, if a person was given a loan as a member of parliament, and now they're no longer a member of parliament, how are they going to pay back because they don't have a job? Were those really debts? Were they loans? Or it was just an issue of buying loyalty? It is sad. Very sad. Now, drop your location. I want to send you some shout out. I want to send you some shout out. I'm seeing Jaden there. Trust me, Jaden is very loyal. There's a Jaden, there's Hilda, there's amazing people. And I'm still yet to collect it. Listen, there'll be a time that I'm going to say, what's your name? What's I know all your names, you know? And trust me, I just wanted to drop your location, please. The one that I'm coming up with, this about in an hour's time, in about 30 minutes to about 6:30, I should be back. It's definitely, we are going to be looking at a very, very, very interesting story today. Allegations that Tendai BT was bribed by Kudata Guire to betray Triple C. These are allegations. So we are coming up with that story. By the way, I don't know the sources. I don't trust the sources that much, but you just want to hear my comment on it, and I'm going to come with it in detail. Because the bomb was dropped today, boom, on Twitter, and I'm coming back in detail so that we can see how we can deal with this issue. Destiny, shout out to you. Chris, shout out to you. And by the way, how is Harare? I heard that it's a bit hot there. Destiny, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. We are family. We are one. Jaden, this channel, let's keep it grow. Yes, we should. Gift, shout out to you. Rad, how are you? How is the UK? Shout out to Gift in the belly. It's good to see you, man. Are you in Bulawayo? Oh, someone actually rebuked me that it's not Bulawayo, it's in Bulawayo. Am I correct? Anyone, please help me. Is the B not too, but rather Lawayo? I'm not Devele. I can speak Zulu. I can try Zulu, but I do speak Zulu. And hear Zulu fluently. Close as well, Paddy, I can hear, but I'm not really that, but I can hear when people speak. Bulawayo, they said it's Bulawayo, right? Without question, shout out Cosmo City. You are in the hood, man. You are in the hood. You are in the hood. How is Cosmo City? It's good to see you. Good to see you guys. There's a lot of people. Please don't forget to like the live. Guys, push the live. We can push algorithm by liking the live. So I'm asking all of you here to make sure you don't leave until you like the live. Like the live so that I can push the algorithm. Johannesburg, there's gift right there. What's up? How is Johannesburg? Are you in Joburg town or you're around the city? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Guys, I told you I'm coming back around 6:30, right? Let's talk about Tendai BT around 6:30. Kudata Gure around 6:30. Yeah, you know, Kudata Gure is known being the mafia in town, Mr. Mafia. But he's also calling, hi Tendai, my sister from California. Yeah, you know, he's also known as, you know, they call him a Zimbabwean mafia, but he says he's a pastor. Okay, Chris, what's up? He called himself a pastor. And by the way, I don't buy titles. You know, I'm a firm believer that if you're called to do anything, you don't need to have a title to do it. You can be Rumbes to change the world. You know, I don't have to have a title to change the world. No, I don't need titles, actually. I just want to be called Rumbe. Free State Destiny, what's up? How is Free State? Is it like Johannesburg? Johannesburg, early in the morning, it was very cold, I can tell you. Hi, Providence. Hi. Good to see you, man. You know, earlier on, before I used to be, you know, I'm a winter person. I love winter, really. So I used to love to overdress. So the weather of today could have really embarrassed me. Shout out to Simba. Good to see you, man. Could have embarrassed me because whenever I would see that the weather was a bit tricky, like this morning was really cold in Johannesburg, I was definitely going to overdress and then go to work. Maybe now the weather is changing. It's getting a little bit, you know, it's a bit warm. I know I was going to be, you know, I will put my boots on. Like, I'm that kind of person. I'm a winter girl and I love winter so much. So I could have been having my boots and it really look very, you know, I love it when I wear boots, high heel boots. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love clothes. I love fashion. I'm a fashion guru. I love it. Really, I do. So the weather in Joburg is really tricky today, very tricky. For those that went to work, I'm sure people were wearing coats and jackets, and then boom, now it's a little bit warmer. Then you have to adjust a bit. So I could have been one of the person who people were going to look and say, what's up, girl? But yeah. So guys, good to see you, everyone. And I'm telling you, we had fun. And Zimbabwe, always, let's push and make sure we do what's right. Timothy, shout out, good to see you, man. Since I know you are my data is no longer lasting. Timothy, I'm really sorry. This is, Timothy, listen. This is why we are fighting for having, there should be Wi-Fi everywhere, y'all. Hi, Aubrey. Good to see you, Aubrey. 4 ways. Oh my God, you are in the hood. You're definitely in the hood, not far from where I am. You are in the hood, Aubrey. One day we're going to meet. Trust me. One day we'll meet. And when you see me, just say hi. I don't like when I move around. Yeah, but you know what I mean? So, all I'm just saying is, this is why we are fighting for a better Zimbabwe. Because imagine just getting at the airport to get free Wi-Fi. Midrand, Mberi, shout out to you. You're in Midrand, again in the hood. You know, imagine getting by the airport, there's free Wi-Fi. You know, you move around anywhere you sit, there's free Wi-Fi. You're just having parties. That's the Zimbabwe that we want. Shout out Tandy. Shout out from the UK. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. You know, and that's the Zimbabwe that we want. Just be in a position where you can get anything that you want anytime. You know, free Wi-Fi everywhere. That's what I want. If I move right now to go to the mall, there's free Wi-Fi outside. I can do whatever I want to do. How even here in Mozambique, you see, Look, Mozambique is developing. Johannesburg, hi, Adonis, good to see you, man. 2, as a matter of fact, you remember we used to call people from Mozambique, hey, oh man, maybe I call Manyasaran, right? Jabu, love, good to see you, Jabu, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Hope really 37 exile. Oh, man, Jabu, come on. You can't be in exile. You can't, Jabu. Good to see you. You know what I mean? And hey, good to see you, Captain Park. Lame, good to see you, man. You're welcome. Good to see you. I get in the hood. Let me you are in the hood. Good to see you. So I'm drinking some water here. Somebody this morning was suggesting that I do. They said that it was Simba. Good to see you. It was a bit windy in the mornings. That is Zimbabwe, right? And now it's better. The weather is cool now. And the person was saying I should drink, I don't know, teas, whatever. No, I don't do diets of teas and all the things. No. I want natural stuff. If I have to do whatever I'm doing, I do it naturally. So really, I just love lemon water. Very, 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 very flavor water. Yeah, Jason, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Kudakwashe, good to see you. Yeah, we wish serious change in our country. 100%, we all have the desire to see that country being a better country, right? We pray that it becomes a better country that we all know we deserve. Guys, imagine when the change comes and I don't want to think about it because I'm going to cry. Because I feel like when that country changes and we're just having party, guys, I don't want us to start having party in heaven. Let's start the party right here. You know, the party must start right here. We don't want to have a party when we get to heaven. We want to enjoy the heavens here on earth. And then we can extend it to heaven when we get to be with the Father. But let's start right here. You know what I mean? So guys, you must enjoy your day. And if you're just waking up, I think there are people now early in the morning, the people that are in the States, they should be around. It's almost, yeah, maybe you're waking up early in the morning, whatever you are, I'm saying you have a great day. And because for us, we're almost approaching the evening song. I'll see you guys later on around 6:30 to 6:45. I'll be back. And we are talking about Tendai BT, Kuratagwire. Let's hear what's happening with the issue of bribery, which has been a problem in Zimbabwe. People taking bribery. Always. Is it true? Or people are just trying to sabotage Triple C? You know, they are afraid. Oh, Hilda, it's 11:45 a.m. Oh, good to see you, Hilda. So you are very, yeah. And again, Hilda, you're in California, if I'm not mistaken. Are you? Oh, I don't know which side of the States you are. So this is what I'm saying. We're tired. We need to now start unraveling truth out there. People need to know that taking bribery at the expense of the masses is wrong. To me, I equate it with murder. You're a murderer. Oh, you're in Atlanta. Good to see you, my angel. Good to see you. You know what I mean? So we need to understand that taking money really at the expense of the nation is worse than a murderer. I'm a person who believes that you are a murderer. Many people died. Many people's destinies are messed up because you've taken money. You've accepted a bribery. And this government needs to know that it's time that we expose every person who is taking money at the expense of the masses must be exposed. If they're journalists, we are going to expose you. We are going to, by the way, we want a country that functions. So guys, I love you so much. Make sure that you stick around. I'll see you soon. Good to see you, my angel. Good to see you, Hilda. I love you so much, guys, and may God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. So see you a little bit later. I'll be back at exactly 6:30 or 6:45. I love you all. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. Bye for now.